I'll second that as stated. Beat you to it.
Are there any changes?
No. Oh, yes,
Yes.
yes. There is one. We would like to add a executive session after our presentations of supplementals.
Okay.
So we would be adding the suspension appeal.
Okay.
She needs to know what the reason?
Yes.
Yes. It's the bottom reason.
Okay. Yes. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda, adding item 3 will be executive session for the purposes authorized under ORC 3313.66, parent, guardian, custodian right to appeal for expulsion. And all of the other items will follow. So item 3 will be the executive session. Item 4 would be the board report. Item 5, the treasurer's report. Item 6, superintendent report, and so forth. Item 7, discussions. If there are no other changes, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda. Or, Ms. Allen, would you call the roll?
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mrs. Cherry?
Yes.
And Mrs. Jeter Freeman?
Yes, so the agenda has been adopted with the addition of the executive session. And now we're gonna go into presentations. The first one is, item A, is information on our supplementals that our teachers have graciously agreed to do after-school program, in-school program for our students. And I'll turn it over to Dr. Cosby.
Okay, so tonight you're going to hear from, we have 4 people here. We're going to start with Miss Houston, and then we'll have Rhonda Traylor, Colonel Graves, and Justin Stone. Did I miss anyone? Then we will have our principals, Ms. Harden, will talk about her new ones, and we also have Mr. Gibson, who will also speak to his new clubs and activities. So I just called everybody like that so that they would know when it was their turn to come up. So Ms. Houston, will you get us started, please? Yes.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Monica Houston, and I'm the advisor for student government, and you've given me the pleasure of doing this for quite a few years, at least 10, I don't know exactly how many. And I hope to be able to do that again this year, my last year at Trotwood-Madison City School, and my 30th year. So it has been a joy to work with these young people. We try to get as many community and service activities together as we can. Almost all of my student government students are honor rolls. They're in various other activities at school, as young people should have an opportunity to do a varied amount of things to give them opportunities to choose what they want to do in life. So these are the objectives of our club: to provide a foundation for the promotion of leadership and service projects for the betterment of our school and our community while maintaining a high scholastic average and a good character. Students will have hands-on experiential field trips to increase awareness and learning about our cultural, community, county, state, and national government. They will participate in several workshops to increase and demonstrate leadership skills. Students will provide student and community service and fundraising projects. They will have an opportunity to meet and interact with local and state leaders. They'll be given an opportunity to learn about our various cultures in our communities and state. This is how my objectives will be met. We meet weekly after school on Monday, where we plan and implement leadership goals. I want to mention that I'm very careful not to restrict our students' ability to experience high school. So if you're in football, you can still be in student government. If you have jobs after school, we meet briefly enough and regularly enough that they can still have jobs after school. If they have home responsibilities, they can get home before their little brothers and sisters get home if they have to help take care of them. So it's important to me not to make children choose between having a full high school experience. These are some of the places that we do to have those experiences. We're going to visit the Freedom Center this week in Cincinnati, the African American History Freedom Center. We probably will be asking to go twice, but because of our bus shortage, by the time we get down there, it's 10 or 10:30. They have to have lunch, and then we got to get back before our school buses. So normally we would get there probably at 8:30 or 9 o'clock, and then they will have at least 2 hours to explore. We had 60 minutes or less, which that's a big museum, and you can imagine learning about over 4,000 years of history in 1 hour would be difficult. We'll be at the school board meetings. I'll get them together. We like them to come at least once or twice a year. You can't be a community member if you don't know anything about your community. And you should know firsthand as you're growing to young adulthood what that entails. We will visit the Ohio Supreme Court, where they have a chance to meet judges, and depending on their schedules, they have a chance to observe trials, which is really important. But even if they can't, our local government officials from this area always make sure that they come and greet them, and the judges are so nice, and they come and talk to them to know that if you're not in trouble, it's nice to know a judge. We visit the Paul Lawrence Dunbar House, which has been closed during COVID. I personally called Mrs. Ski, who was the administrator for decades, and talked with her. I also talked with the Dayton Historical Society, which has taken over that. But I wanted to see if Mrs. Ski could come in also, if they allowed her to, because she dresses up as Mother Dunbar and really gives them something to see. And I will have to talk to our administration in our building, but if she's still well enough to drive, she's willing to come over and talk to our group and our African American history class at Trotwood, as long as it's not icy outside. We also want to visit the Montgomery County court system, and they get to see trials as they're going on. And if there isn't a trial that day, those judges are so nice. They come and talk to our students, tell them about what government is about and what they can do to participate in government. Very important. We have special speakers during the year as we can get them, because they have to come free. So if they're willing to come and our principal approves it and you guys approve it, we have them come. As many experiences they have. And lastly, we go to the National Council of Juvenile Justice annual or biannual workshop. This is students from all over greater Montgomery County and Dayton. And what they talk about is how they can impact and improve and participate in their communities. And the first time I got to go was last year. There had to be 600 kids from all kinds of schools, public, private, parochial, all kinds of schools. And I told them, you can't sit at a table with more than one or two from Trotwood. I want you to meet other people and learn the things that they can share with you and share with them what you know. And I was very proud when two of our students stood up and talked. I felt like the mother, I'm like, that's my kids, that's my kids. So they were so articulate and great. We were not able to go to the fall workshop this year because it interfered with our testing. And we know state testing comes first. However, in the spring, I'm really praying that we can have an opportunity to go again, because that is the best workshop I've ever been to in my life. And I'm over 25, so I've been to a few. So I'm really praying that we'll be able to attend that again, of course, with your approval and our principal's approval, and if it does not interfere with testing. Because I just want them to have as rich an experience as they can. And I have a lot of freshmen this year. I have my regulars from sophomore and junior and senior year, but all my ninth graders showed up, and I was glad to see them. So hopefully, whoever takes my place when I retire, these kids will take an interest in their community and serving in their community and voting in their community. And that's what I'm hoping to be able to achieve through student government. And whether you approve me or not, well, I'll be mad if you don't. But whether you approve me or not, I'm so thankful to have had a chance to work with these outstanding young people. That's it.
Thank you so much. Great information. The students are geared up, lined up for a great year.
Hey, Ms. Trailer?
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
How you guys doing?
Wonderful.
Good. Yay. I'm exhausted, but that's okay. I went to Lima. I'm tired. So, the yearbook. Trotwood-Madison High School yearbook. Every year, we have improved upon it. We have made it better. We have made it greater. We have, last year's theme was our superhero theme, cover designed by our students. They learn about how to do ad sales. They learn about how to approach members of the community, because they actually go out and they recruit people to put sales inside of the yearbook. They learn about the economics behind that and the marketing component behind that. They also learn about layout, photography, formatting pictures and editing, creating templates, and working together as a team and being responsible people in the building, because I need to be able to trust that you're going to go places. I need to be able to trust that when I send you somewhere, you do it and you do what it is that you're supposed to do. If you guys would like to see the yearbook on this side, I'm going to pass it down so you guys can look at it. I brought two, but I've got a small group this year, but there are some very motivated ones in the bunch. A sophomore actually designed that cover. He did a phenomenal job. If you look on the back, the front's got him, the ram is busting through the bricks, and then on the back, it says cleanup crew. And that's all of the seniors that graduated last year, has them part about the cleanup bricks. But he designed the entire cover and did a wonderful job. They learned skills that they didn't realize that they needed to have. They have to problem solve. We don't just sit back and say, okay, well, you're gonna create this and good luck. I give them the tools that they need to have, but then they need to take those tools and actually apply it. And I go, what do you think you can do to make this better? I have no idea. Okay, you're gonna have to work that through. Talk to your classmates. We come together and we put things on the screen. They make every decision regarding the yearbook. This year's theme is actually Netflix, and they're creating some of their own templates for it to look like the Netflix and how the screens and stuff are this year. And they designed that idea. They're coming up with all the pieces and all the components that make the yearbook as you see it. I don't do it. I helped them through. I was taking pictures, and I'm sure people were wondering why I was taking pictures. It's because I'm at a board meeting and I can put it in the yearbook, because that's what I do. So if you were smiling and you were looking at me, what's she doing? I'm taking your picture. Shh, just smile. But my students do the same thing. It was really entertaining yesterday. They put out the yonder boxes, and I gave the kids my phone. And I said, here you go. And they're like, really? I'm like, yep. Whose phone do you have? And they said, this is Miss, and I told them, I said, look, when they ask you whose phone you have, you show them that and you say, that's Mrs. Traylor's father out in the woods by his house. So they want to know. My dad. That's right. That's what I tell them. Say, show them my father, so they will understand that that is Mrs. Traylor's phone, because you do not have your own phone out, because yours should be in your yonder pouch. But that's something that we're going to have to work through a little bit. I have brought in some cameras. I had some cameras donated to me. So we're working on pieces to get those cameras working. To be honest, I can be honest with you, the cameras in the cell phones are 4 to 5 times better, sometimes 10 times better than the cameras that I could afford to give enough to each student. And this is after dialogue with our our digital media teacher. She said the same thing. She's the one, and she's a photography person, and the librarian, our librarian is also a photography expert. She actually does photography lessons with my students. I take them in there and she shows them different ways to use things. And she said the same thing. Their phone cameras are significantly better than what we can buy. And if I'm gonna, and that's at $250 a pop. So to get something as good as the phone, we're talking $600, $700, $800 as far as the cameras and the pixels and how they actually work. So I'm trying to develop a program. I'm trying to build a program so that I have students that come in as 9th graders and they stay. And then that way, by the time they're seniors, I've made them leaders of the yearbook. They become my senior editors. They put that on a resume. It means a lot. And I've had kids come back and say, I got to put that on my thing, and somebody asked about it in this trailer. I'm like, exactly, because you're a senior editor. They're in charge. The senior editors do the reviews with the students. The senior editors look at the other students. They say, you need to add this to your page. You didn't do this. You're missing this piece. You've got typos. The sentence structure isn't correct. The capitalization. So it gives them another level of their performance and their ability to actually grow and learn about the yearbook. So, did you have any questions or anything?
No, it sounds like the students are learning quite a bit with the graphic arts and Netflix, so that's that engaging part, that's part of our mission, so thank you.
Oh, you're
Thank
welcome.
you.
You're welcome. Hold on to my books for me, okay? I'm sorry, I had to be in Lima at 8 o'clock this morning, and I got there at 7:30. I'm going home. I'm sorry.
That's
She was a part
perfectly
of our
fine, thank you for
instructional
coming
round
out,
group today.
we appreciate it.
Yes, you're up.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
All right. In case you don't know, I'm Lieutenant Colonel Dr. Graves. I am your JROTC and Robotics Club instructor. Last time we spoke, had the kids here, and we were a team robotics club of five cadets/students. And we were on our way to regional/nationals. Since then, we won the Excellence Awards at Nationals, where they only give out 6 awards. We took home one of the 6 awards. Our first year with the drone, so I'm super proud of that. Your team is national champions. That's right. Clap for them. Clap for them. That's right. They did it.
Thank you.
We have grown from those 5 cadets from last school year. We're at 21 this year. So we went from one team. We now have 5 different teams. I have 2 dedicated drone teams, and I have 3 hybrid drone and land robots. So we are doing very well.
Very good.
The beautiful thing about that program, our goals and objectives, we want to foster STEM enthusiasm, build that skill development, of course, do competitions and be very successful. I told them no less than 2 national titles this year in drones, and no less than at least qualifying for the land robot for nationals. So that's our goals and objectives. How are we going to do it? Again, we've already grown. We've already received a grant valuing more than $2,300. It paid the $770 registration, so yay, we didn't have to spend money for that. It's also going to pay their first registration for their competition. So we're super proud of that. And after we go compete our first time, they're going to send a check to a stipend of $1,200 for our program. So we're happy about that. We believe in OPM, other people's money, so we want to work that. And of course, ROTC is still doing all those wonderful concessions and extracurricular activities to raise funds, and the Robotics Club is part of that, and so they're all part of raising the funds. So we appreciate, don't forget there's a game Friday, bring your money. I don't know if the trailer will be set up, but the Polish dogs and hot dogs will be there. Cash. All right, we also have, we meet twice a week. We meet on Mondays and Thursdays after school. With the size of the program, we're looking at possibly adding an extra day to it. Bless you. Bless you. We're looking at adding an extra day to it. As far as the competitions, there is only one competition in the state of Ohio, and that's going to be in February. We have signed up. We will host a competition ourselves now in conjunction with our drill competition on Saturday, March 16th, so everybody's invited. Come on out. Our goal is we hope to at least get 10 teams out there. If we get more, great. And it will be a qualifier to go to the regional tournament. So depending on how teams are qualified, we may get a lot more teams than that, but we'll see. As I said, so I haven't decided if we'll be able to compete in our own. I don't like when teams compete in their own hosted events. It happens a lot, just a personal thing. If we haven't qualified for regionals by then, we definitely will compete in our own. But with that said, there's only one competition in Ohio, so we're going to be doing a lot of traveling. I'm in the process of working on all of my out-of-school or out-of-state trips. And unfortunately, for the drones, out-of-state means nationals. We need to travel to Texas, Arizona, West Virginia, Michigan, Florida, South Carolina. With our first, we're looking at 10 December. So I know we're within that 60 days, but I'm begging up front, please forgive me. Super busy, just lost track. The other things that we've got going on, that's all just the air. That's just the air I've talked about. The land robot is just as important. Like I said, we got 3 of those teams, and of those 3, 2 of them they're also flying a drone, so those kids are super busy. And the same thing with them. There is 0 land robot competitions in Ohio that I've found so far for the high school level. But there are some throughout West Virginia, Kentucky. There's a whole lot in Kentucky and Indiana. So we'll be doing neighboring states for those as well. So your robotics and ROTC is going to be very busy, and we're working on getting them ready for college. Hopefully some of them will have the enthusiasm to continue to STEM and robotics. And my ultimate goal, I will say up front, is to get my 16-year-olds their drone license. And if they get their drone pilot license, there are companies out there, like my wife's a realtor, $30 an hour is the starting rate. That's part-time work. So if I can get them their drone license, costs, they got to be 16, and that's $150 to take the test. So we're working on getting them that as well.
Very good, thank you.
Pending any questions?
Any questions, board comments? Thank you.
I appreciate
As
all y'all's
always,
support. Thank you.
Thank you.
It was great. Very nice.
Okay, now we have Mr. Stone.
I have a quick question, Madam.
Yes.
All
you
right.
want-
Real quick question. I know, last year when you came in, you did the presentation with the drones that you have. Do you have enough drones? Now that the program has grown from 5 students, thank you, to 20,
21 students.
yeah, I wanted to address that.
Oh, well, I'm glad you did, and thank you. We have 4 drones as of right now. We need another 4 drones at a minimum. It takes, the way the competition is set up this year, you have to have 2 drones per team. And so right now, we're sharing, but each drone costs $250. We just purchased 2 of them. That's how we're up to 4. The old robot, the Parrot, it's still competition eligible. I have 5 of those. However, they cannot get the upgrade. They don't work. I use those in the classroom. For the robotics class. And because you can't do an upgrade, they fly on their own. So it's a hazard. So I like, everybody goggles, everybody be safe. Matter of fact, I got hit right here. One just
Wow.
took off on us. So definitely not gonna use those in competition. So in short, yes, I need 4 more.
So that's your ask?
$1,000.
That's your ask?
Let's say 5, $1,250.
Okay.
You always need a backup, man.
Right.
That is my ask, $1,250.
Yeah, thank you. And I mean, the program has grown exponentially, and like I said, we were impressed when you came in before, with just having the 2.
Yes.
And now, I can definitely understand.
Yes, and the central office was extremely helpful with our land robot. That's why I don't need any land robots. They were able to provide us everything that we needed, so we have an abundance of those.
Okay,
It's just the
drones, right?
drones now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Stone, we're ready for you.
All right, good evening.
Good evening.
Everybody doing okay tonight? For the most part, I hope. I am vying to be senior class advisor 2024. I'm the rookie of the group. You know, everybody else kind of been doing this for years. I'm kind of new to all of this, but My major goal was to help assist our seniors in their transition from school, high school, to the real world, helping them to have a hopefully happy senior year. We're working on things such as the class trip, obviously. I'm working with junior class advisor on senior prom, those type of things, just trying to make sure they have an enjoyable and pleasurable senior year. With those objectives that I have on there, I'm not gonna read it to you all. That's why I kind of gave everybody, you kind of can look through it. I just work with the administration and the students. I have class officers, we have 6 of them. I took the officers from the previous year and kind of kept them this year, but we might have to shake up some things. But trying to teach them leadership and being accountable, and that is kind of more of a challenge than expected, so it's just because of what they did their previous year. But, I mean, for the most part, we've done pretty well. The senior officers worked well with our junior class on the homecoming. Turned out to be pretty well. We've been working on a movie night for the seniors so far. We've done senior composites with Schwabi. I mean, we got a plethora of things that we have lined up for the kids. Just, that's basically our function and our objectives for the year. Just hopefully helping these seniors have a good future. Right, Princess? You have any questions? I'm sorry, I told you I'm a rookie up here.
About, go ahead, Ms. Chair.
I have a question.
Yes,
So you
ma'am.
work with the senior parent committee?
Yes, Mrs. Howard is over the senior parent committee. I work kind of hand in hand with her.
Okay.
Say how many? Did you say how many?
Yes,
Currently rostered, we have about 189 seniors.
okay.
So I am working with a lot of them. I work with the counseling as well, looking at their credits so we can help make sure that we end with that same number.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
I got something
Thank
to
you.
say.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just being, well, a science guy myself, I would like to just say one thing about the science department since I've just been in this chair. I really appreciate what your department has been doing, along with the work you've been doing and the requests that have been going on for the last 2+ years, just upgrading and fine-tuning things. And I just don't want to have you here, at least face-to-face, and not tell you how grateful we are to have you in Trotwood-Madison to carry that load like you're doing in our science department. You are, I don't think single-handedly, but hand-in-hand with Madam Superintendent, making our science department very robust. You see how I'm looking you in your eyes. It's very important to me, this
I appreciate it.
stability of this, this department. Science and math are related to me. So as you go, our math department goes, sir. If you don't think of it that way, I do. So I just want to thank you for that while I had the opportunity, because I have just seen a lot of improvements, even just the working with operations and getting the tables and just some of the stuff that is giving the students that quality of education that they really deserve. Without getting into great details, just thank you so much for that.
No, thank you.
I digress. Thank you, man.
Sorry I didn't introduce myself. I'm Justin Stone, science teacher at the high school. But yeah, I just thought about that when you said that. I appreciate it though. That means a lot.
Thank you,
Thanks
sir.
so much. Ms. Allen?
I do. Ms. McCluskey, are you ready to come up?
Good evening. I'm going to piggyback on Mr. Stone with this class advisor. I'm the junior class advisor. So far, we have completed the homecoming court, which was a big deal. I did it previously at other schools. It's my first time doing it here at Trotwood. And with Stone being kind of new at it, we just decided to partner up and do things together and kind of tag team and have the students work together to try to make this a fun year for the kids. So what we're doing, we're trying to secure the prom venue. The idea right now is the Renaissance. I'm thinking Packard Museum. I thought to do something different for the kids. So that's what we're trying to secure right now. The homecoming dance did well. We have funds. I kind of was worried stepping into this. We didn't have anything, $0, and we were trying to figure out how we were going to make this happen. And so like I said, the dance went well. We had great ticket sales. It was opened up to the freshmen, sophomore, junior, senior. I opened it up to everyone. Of course, the prom will only be for the juniors and seniors, but we have other dances that we're thinking to also raise money. We were thinking about possibly bringing back turnabout dance, doing Valentine's. Also, Ms. Millerton and I had talked about doing maybe a TikTok challenge for the students. Everybody loved TikTok. You know, so we're just trying to figure out how we're gonna work this out because they have these yonder bags now, and you know, everybody's kind of going through something with these bags. So we figure maybe if we can do a TikTok challenge, maybe the students, you know, would enjoy doing that. T-shirt sales and just a few things we had kind of in mind to try to, you know, get some things lined up for the class officers and for the junior and senior class. But other than that, we don't have any field trips planned, not for the junior year. I think that should be something they look forward to doing their senior year. And we'll have meetings probably twice a month to meet with them. It's not, I actually sit in with the senior class when they have their office, their meetings, and kind of see how they're doing it so we can kind of correlate things together. So that's pretty much it. Anybody have any questions?
Any questions for it?
I don't have a question, but I do have a comment.
Yeah.
I like the fact that you guys are starting so early,
Oh, yeah.
preparing for the seniors and, you know, the
Right,
juniors also.
yeah, well,
That makes a difference.
yeah, thanks, because we were kind of, well, you know, we're kind of conscientious of doing a great job. So we were like, okay, let's try to secure this place. So hopefully by next week, I have already talked to Packard. You know, everything is kind of lined up. The only thing I'm concerned about is the food, because what we realized at the homecoming dance, they had a nice spread, but students didn't eat many vegetables, okay? So we're trying to figure what foods will work for them, you know, because I want them to, and I know most times for the prom, they go out to dinner, but we still want to have finger foods and things for them to have there. But other than that, once we secure that, we go visit. That's gonna be locked in, so that will be locked in before we go out for winter break, and then all we have to do is start getting our funds lined up and implement everything. Yep, so that's pretty much.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
And I like that the two of you are working together, junior and senior, so.
Yes, and that
good
was our thing. We
collaboration.
was like, okay, we work together, and that way, if we have to rotate each,
Right.
we kind of both know what to do and what to expect. So that was kind of something we just kind of worked out on our own.
Thank
Went to
you.
a wedding at the Packard Museum, and it was really cool.
Okay, I mean, looking at the pictures, it looked nice, and so I'm trying to figure a way of maybe, I know they're not gonna do it because these young ladies go way out for these dresses, but I kind of really want them to have like the 1920s theme, you know, to kind of make it fun, something
That was
different.
fun.
I just don't know how I'm gonna convince them that it would be a nice thing to do, because, you know, they might not be ready for that, you know, that look, but I thought it would be something different.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Ms. Pagan, it's your time.
That's what Marlon, gotta get Marlon. He might be able to help you.
Okay. Hola, buenas noches. I'm Profe Pagan, and I think this is my 18th year at Trotwood. So I'm really, really amazed that it's been 18 years. I am interested in having a Spanish club this year. And I've done Spanish club in the past, but the last couple of years with COVID and everything, we didn't do it. So this year I want to revive the Spanish club. And I figured pictures are better than words, so that you can have an idea of what I try to do with hands-on experiences for the students at Trotwood. Right now, today is November 2nd, and the shirt that you see me wearing is celebrating the calaveras of Dia de los Muertos. And in Dia de los Muertos, the idea of the skull has nothing to do with Halloween and scariness. What it has to do with is the skeletons remind us that we're all equal human beings. Whether we're rich or poor, Republican or Democrat, when we find human bones, we recognize that these are human bones and they need a proper burial. It's the same thing with Dia de los Muertos. So what's really been wonderful as part of my experience is the actual growth in understanding other cultures that happens not only for my students, but for my parents as well. So when we have open house and the parents come to my classroom, in the past I've had a few parents. I remember my first year that I did this, a parent came in and took their student out of my class because when she came in for parent conferences and she saw the skulls and the Day of the Dead bread and all of this Day of the Dead talk, she thought that I was teaching devil worshiping. And so she went to the principal and told the principal, I don't want my daughter in that class because this is devil worshiping. And so Mr. Cox at the time, he was the principal, he said, you know, Miss Pagan is following Ohio standards. This is one of the standards of world language learning. And so this tradition of Dia de los Muertos is a UNESCO recognized World Heritage celebration. So from that framework in my classroom, I want to also provide extended learning opportunities because, you know, less than 10 years ago, the Latino population was less than 1% here in Ohio. And now we're a whopping 3%. But we contribute $2.5 billion to the Ohio economy. So it's really important for our kids to understand that learning another language, especially Spanish, gives them the opportunity to expand their opportunities for career paths. And so in the past, I had WISO come to the high school and they did a presentation on the graduate project. And so they interviewed not only one of our students, but Jordan's mom as well. And it was a really, really wonderful experience for our African American students to hear what Latino students experience in trying to stay in school and meet the challenges. And what they found was challenges are challenges. And they could relate to some of the obstacles of coming from a place of not having all of your needs met, or having super challenges because the community doesn't have enough resources for the parents to be able to meet their students' needs. So again, it was one of those opportunities for us to be able to walk in someone else's shoes. So the Dia de los Muertos community event, my students in the past and the Spanish Club have helped to set up and decorate in the community venue where the event was taking place. So this is some of the students that participated in the march, and then they got to see authentic dancers and then take a tour of a museum where not only Latinos, but Miami Valley members from all over the area create their own ofrendas. And an ofrenda, for those of you who don't know, that means gift or offering. So right now, my students, and I'm sure Faith can attest to this as well, have been writing their short essay in Spanish, and they had to have a shoebox that they had to spray paint, and they are going to create a keepsake in honor of a family member that has passed. I have to tell you, it has been a tricky proposition to engage the students at the level that I'm engaging them in, because some cultures feel comfortable talking about those that have passed. Some cultures do not. And so every day, in the beginning of teaching them about this tradition of Day of the Dead, we have to have a talk about why that isn't weird and why that isn't stupid. Because it looks different, and so there must be something wrong with it. And by the time we get to this point, I have my students, yesterday, for the first day of Dia de los Muertos, we honor the children that have passed. And so last year's student, and here's the other thing I love about now that I have continuing years of this, last year's students, some of the students leave their boxes for me to keep as models. This young lady made a box in honor of her little sister that died when she was 9 months old. The box is in my room, it's beautifully done, and so yesterday when we were honoring the children, I brought up her box and I read the essay that this student wrote. And the kids were so respectful, and what was beautiful in my 6th period class was one of her cousins was in the class. And so when I read the essay, and then the kids were like, oh, she was so pretty and that's so beautiful. And I said, and you know, when that happens, we all still feel the loss and the sorrow of that person not being here. But because we take the time to remember them, we have the opportunity to celebrate the gift of their legacy. So for me, as a Latina, it has been an honor to be able to share my culture and then to see my students reflect the beauty of the culture in the interpretation of their own family members. So that is what we'll be doing again this year. And so the poster that you see here was for last year's Day of the Dead event. And as you see, Dr. Cosby joined us. And Dr. Cosby, I was sharing your story about your mother and your family's experience. And again, it was an opportunity for us to see where we've been to where we are now. And so when we talk about the issue of racism or discrimination, we have visual proof that we too can survive the challenges in our lives because our ancestors, those that have gone before us, gave us a path. The picture that you see right here is on our very own stage at Trotwood-Madison High School. The 2 murals that you see on the side were painted by students in previous Spanish classes, and we did some of the murals in conjunction with the art class. So in the past, our program has worked with the art club, the history class, and also the English classes. So we try to make this a cross-curricular experience, not just for me as a Spanish teacher, because I want my kids to know that what I'm telling them when I talk about Cesar Chavez and Dolores Huerta, that their efforts marched alongside Martin Luther King. So what did they do with that information? Well, the person that you see over here in this picture, the gentleman in the plaid shirt, he is the chair of the Ohio Commission of Hispanic Latino Affairs. He came to our evening event with his family because he wanted my students to know that all the way up to the state level, our community appreciates what our African American students are doing to elevate the conversation of diversity in our community. So thanks to Mrs. Houston and the other teachers and staff that have participated in the past, we were able to present a program that allowed the students to be seen and to be recognized for their efforts. And so I'm going to show you a brief little video here to give you an idea of what to expect we are in the process of getting a date approved for November for our Day of the Dead program, and it looks like my little thing, there it is. Okay. So the students, the way the event will be is the Spanish Club helps to decorate the event. They will also be presenting their projects because they are also in my classes. Can we make the audio work? The dancers that you see are a local group called the Pride of Mexico, and they performed several dance interpretations related to the traditions of Day of the Dead. And between the dancers, we had storytellers come up and share the stories of their loved ones. You made me so happy at that moment. Okay, and so this year, I also plan to have the students participate in the Hispanic Latino Commission Day, Legislative Day. And in the past, when we took students, they got to meet, at that time they met Senator Tavares, and they actually got to talk to her and learn about how to create a Cesar Chavez Day in Ohio. And one of the other memorable moments about that, which is why we like to participate, is our students get the opportunity to meet legislators and make those connections themselves. And so one of our students was offered that when she graduated, she could come back to Senator Tavares, pick up the internship packet, and become an assistant to Senator Tavares' office. But since then, Senator Tavares has retired from serving, but you know, you never know where the opportunity is going to take them. So, so I hope that if our program is approved, that we will be able to have the students participate not only locally, but also on the state level by attending the Ohio Hispanic Latino Legislation Day of Legislative Day. The picture here real quick, these were Sinclair and University of Dayton professors that came to talk to my students about Cesar Chavez and the connection because they had worked with him. And then my students took that information and they did a workshop at Sinclair Community College. And you can't see in that picture well, but that's one of our students talking about the connection between Martin Luther King and Cesar Chavez. And they are evaluated like other presenters, and the feedback that they got from the presenters was absolutely wonderful. It was comments about, I learned information that I had no idea of, and I am so amazed that you young people have put together such a wonderful presentation. So the connections here in Trotwood, we have a small Latino community. But if you know about the Latino community, and especially some of us, we're a part of the African American diaspora. And so it's really important for us to know who our relatives are so that we can continue to grow those relationships, whether we're red, yellow, black, or white. And that's the core of what I want my students to know. Learning another language is a privilege and an opportunity to make the world a better place.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Does anyone have any questions?
I got a statement. Well, Just watching your program for the last several years, I really, really appreciate what you're doing. I've noticed, I don't know if everyone can truly, because everyone's not part of the Latin subculture completely, but just the work you've done with the children. I've seen children that had no will to learn another language thrive under what you're doing. I can only speak for the last 2 years, but I'm just telling you, it is such a privilege to just be part of this Trotwood experience. And I would like the superintendent to kind of lean in on it more as we go on, because to me, that 1% can change to, like you said, 3%, right? And then when you add millages of millions of dollars coming into Ohio communities, I think it's great what you're doing. So just gracias, Madam Ecuadora, and gracias por la gran presentación.
Oh, gracias, señor. Muy lindo.
¿Qué pasa? Yeah.
Okay.
Buenos-
Thank you all very much. And you will be hearing from me when we have our date for our Day of the Dead program. And I do hope that you all come out, because it is stunning, the boxes that the kids make in honor of their relatives.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I believe we may have one more teacher. Do we have one more teacher who wants to present tonight? I'm going to ask that my principals hold off, and we may do that on the 16th, because we do have a parent waiting for a meeting. So I apologize, but I appreciate your coming, and we'll do it on the 16th.
Okay.
Thank you. Everybody that presented today did an excellent job. Really appreciated that.
Thank you. Thank you all so much for taking your time this evening to come out and share what you're doing with our students of your own free time. This was just to have the board understand some of the rich engagement activities that you all have. I noticed each one of you said, if you approve, we just want to be informed as to all the great things that you're doing with our students and all the great opportunities. So thank you, and great information. And we look forward to the rest of them. And at this time, I would like a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of, let's see, for the purposes authorized under ORC 3313.66, parent, guardian, custodian, right to appeal pupil expulsion. And action may be taken.
I'll move to go into executive session for the reasons stated.
I second.
Properly moved by Ms. Moore and second by Mr. Anderson, and we will, Ms. Allen, if you would, call the roll.
Yes. Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mrs. Cherry?
Yes.
And Mrs. Jeter Freeman?
Yes, the motion passes, and we will go into executive session at 6:27. Okay,
So that's up to you guys.
please. Okay, I want to start of executive session at 8:31. And we have no board report, so we'll move to treasurer's report. And if you would like, Ms. Allen, this is a work session. We can move that to the regular meeting,
Presentation?
the presentation.
So
Can you do that?
I can,
And-
but the five-year forecast has to be approved at the, board.
Okay, and that's fine.
Yeah.
The board, you have a copy of the five-year presentation. If you would, take a look at it. If you have questions, send them to Ms. Allen prior to our regular meeting in which we will vote on it. And I will defer to you, Ms. Allen, to item B, that is 5B.
Okay, I do have just one item, to present this evening. The approval of October 5th work session minutes, and this is just for information, October 12th minutes and October 19th minutes. Again, that is just for information. And then, we agreed that 4B, I will bring that back on, at the, business meeting on the 16th. Under
Okay, Superintendent.
5B, under 5B, actually.
So
Okay.
Superintendent?
Yeah.
So I can also go through mine quickly. They are for information. The clothing donation is a clothing donation to be used for the families of Trotwood-Madison Early Learning Center and Madison Park Elementary Schools. The approximate value of the donation is $250. And the request is that we allow the students to accept the donation and to distribute it.
Where is that donation from?
It doesn't say where it comes from. I think, sometimes people will bring things in. I think that's what has happened. But I can ask
Okay,
if it was from one place. I believe she would have put that on there, but I can check to be sure on that. The others are student activity ones. And we have class of 2024 activity account to assist the class with having increased respect and value for being a member of Trotwood High School as they prepare to graduate. They have a carryover balance of $4,353.76. They are getting revenue from the Turnabout Dance, from Senior Dinner Dance, from the Madden 2K Tournament, and from a Chick-fil-A fundraiser, which would bring them $4,500, a total
good.
revenue of $8,853.76. They anticipate spending for swap $2,000, and is that the classroom? What is swap? The pictures, and then the dinner dance costing $4,200. Again, this is for information tonight. Okay, then approval of out-of-state field trip for 8th graders to DC. This trip is being requested supervised by Lynetta Tyus. It is to go to DC over May 8th to the 10th in 2024. It will be funded by family contributions, and the students will travel by Lafayette limo. On this trip, they will have the opportunity to visit the African American Museum, experience firsthand their culture at its finest. They will also visit the Holocaust Museum, the Marine Memorial, the White House, the Capitol, the Washington Monument, and the Arlington Cemetery, to name a few things. This will support their studies on the U.S. Constitution, its framework, how it is established, and how it protects citizens' rights. They will learn how America began to develop a unique identity among diverse regional and cultural populations based on democratic ideals.
Upon return, they will create a video, TikTok, or slide presentation of highlights to encourage seventh graders to attend the trip and to understand the trip. This field trip is being sponsored by the parents. They've been given like four amount, like they pay $175, $175.
Increments?
Yes, in increments, and the final will be determined by how many students actually end up, paying the money and going. So, yeah, so that's how they're paying for that. And they do have attached the travel program there. Does anybody have any questions on that?
Madam President, I do have a question to
Mhm.
Dr. Cosby. I just want to be clear in regards to that particular trip, so we won't have the same issues that we had last time. Is the school or the district funding any part of that trip that needs to be approved? Has there been any requests that the district provides any funding for that particular trip?
They've started talking to the parents as early as September, and in that meeting, they did tell the parents the cost, and that is per child, per parent. So I'm imagining that they are gonna do some fundraising, but the parents know that ultimately, if they want their child to go, they're responsible. So, that's what I was saying, if they have 44 to 47 students going, then I believe it ends up being the 175, for the three, and then the final one would maybe a little bit more than that or a little bit less than that, but that is the expectation. They've already had to pay the first, because I think that was paid as early as September. So no, there is no expectation, that the board provides any funding for this.
Is there a possibility that the chair can come and present a presentation on how they plan to fund this, just in case that you get people to pull out, if they don't have enough funding for the students who are secured to go, things like that, so the board can be aware if we ever need to assist them with any part of this trip. What's their plans?
I
all
hear
of
what you're
that.
saying was Plan B.
Yeah.
If they don't get enough students. Yeah, and what they have talked to the parents about ranges from $666 to $768. They know it includes admission, meals, lodging, and transportation in that package. I think that the good news is, to me, it feels like the parents do have enough time to make those, payments. So I think that parents who really want their children to go should be able to make that happen. But I will ask, what is the plan in the event that, let's say, only 20 kids show up? That would double the amount. Then it would be then, instead of $666, it'd be about $1,300. I'm looking over at Miss Allen with that mathematical mind, but I think my mind's asleep right now. But I understand what you're saying. If it were to be too few kids, what is the plan? I'll find that out and get back to you. Okay?
I want to go back to your budget statements. You had two more that were part of the National Honor Society
Oh, I'm
and
sorry.
Westbrook Village Principals
You are
Fund.
exactly right. I didn't click on that. National Honor Society also put in their student activity purpose statement and budget. Their goal is to provide a foundation for the promotion of leadership and service projects for the betterment of the school and community while maintaining high scholastic standing and character. The objective is for students to provide community service, whether it be hands-on or raising funds for different projects. They had a carryover balance of $288.93. Membership dues and fees for revenue, $600. Fundraising to be determined, but they're proposing $400. So their total proposed income is $1,000. And their total estimated revenue, when you include the carryover, is $1,288.93. The expenditures, items for the induction ceremony, 2 cakes, punch, drinks, $75. Purchase items for community service, $100. Purchase NHS T-shirts, $390, and NHS pins and certificates, $200. So they propose to spend $765, which is less than their proposed income. So I'll go back, I have one more. Westbrook Village Elementary School. The Principal's Fund is to finance extracurricular activities for the student body and to recognize staff for their work and dedication to the school. In order to celebrate success, I will provide rewards and incentives for academic performance and behavior throughout the year. They have a carryover balance of $2,508.85. Fundraising, the three fundraising activities per year, raising $3,000. And so their proposed income is $3,000. Total estimated revenue then is $5,000. Their expenditures, staff recognition, $1,000. Staff incentives, gifts and meals, another $1,000. School-wide assemblies, $1,000, and incentives for students, PBIS and attendance is $1,000, which is a total of $4,000, so it doesn't exceed their revenue.
They had a nice little balance from last year.
And D is approval, again, this is for information tonight, of the personnel agenda. And so I can go through this. A is a certified personnel agenda. A1 is a recommendation for the approval of the following certified retirement for 23-24 school year. A2 is a recommendation for the approval of the following certified resignations for the 23-24 school year. A3 is a recommendation for the approval of the following certified athletic supplemental for the 23-24 school year. A4 is a recommendation for the approval of the following certified after-school tutors for the 23-24 school year. A4 is a recommendation for the approval of the certified after-school tutors for the 23-24 school year. A5 is a recommendation for the approval of the following certified academic supplementals for the 23-24 school year. A5 continues, certified academic supplementals for the 23-24 school year. It continues on the next page, certified academic supplementals for the 23-24 school year. And then A6 is a recommendation for approval of the following certified academic advisor supplementals for the 23-24 school year. A6, a recommendation for approval of the following certified academic advisor supplementals for the 23-24 school year. A6 is a recommendation for approval of the following certified academic advisor supplementals for the 23-24 school year. Now we're at the classified personnel agenda, Agenda B. B1 is a recommendation for the approval of the following classified new hires for the 23-24 school year. B2 is a recommendation for the approval of the following classified resignation for the 23-24 school year. B3 is a recommendation for the approval of the following classified after-school workers for the 23-24 school year. B3 continues. B4 is a recommendation for the approval of the following classified athletic supplementals for the 23-24 school year. B5 is a recommendation for the approval of the following classified academic supplementals for the 23-24 school year. B6 is a recommendation for the approval of the following classified staff to be used on an as-needed basis. Does anybody have any?
I do have a question,
Questions?
Madam President, to Dr. Cosby.
Yes.
In regards to the after-school tutors, I know that was a discussion last time.
Yes.
Is that, now we approve this, if you don't have the census for this after-school program, are those teachers sit home? Do they still get paid?
No.
Okay.
No, so what we have agreed to is that, the tutors only get paid if they have students to tutor, and it's not gonna be like, if it's 5 students, 5 people will stay in tutor. That would be probably 1 tutor, or depending on what, the needs of the kids, if they need something, it might be 2. But we did have that discussion, and that is the understanding. We have the tutors in the hope that we need them all, that we have, 100 kids show up every day, but if they don't, then tutors will not be allowed to just come and stay and get paid and not actually tutor.
I have a question. What is the consensus then? What is the consensus? How many students, per tutor, has been assigned or will be assigned?
I think what'll happen, it'll ultimately be based on their need, but I think if you have gen ed, students, let's say, who just are asking for, remember like our, like Princess asked for, I could use some study skills help. That could be as big as like 10. But if there are kids who have more needs and they have very specific math help or reading help, it may be as small as a 5-person group. But no one will sit there with nobody or with, unless there is a piece in an IP or something that says this child needs this help and you can work on it after school.
Madam President?
Yes.
If I may ask another question. I know the board recommended that they do a sign-in sheet. I know tutoring has been underway for about 2 weeks, I think, a week.
At the middle school.
week
I
and a
believe
half.
it has been.
Do you think by our next meeting, we can just give a little report on,
How many?
for each building, based off of the number of tutors that we approved and how many students have been staying on the consistent basis?
Okay. Okay, if there are no more questions, that's everything.
Oh, just one. Are we paying for that, Ms. Allen, from our ESSER dollars?
Paying for what?
The supplemental tutors, the tutors?
I have to check, I don't think so.
Okay.
General
I
fund
was
dollars,
just
I can
wondering.
double check, but I'm almost positive, well, I shouldn't say almost positive, but
Okay.
I would check to see.
Thank you. Okay. And we don't have any discussion follow-up items, anything from the board on those? Mr. Anderson?
I did request attendance review.
Attendance?
Yes, I did request that for this meeting.
Attendance at each building?
Yes.
Like where we are right now?
Yes.
I think what I have is old. I did pull some numbers, which I will send to you. But we do have numbers of students in the district per building. Is that what you're asking?
No, we asked for staff
Oh,
attendance.
staff. Oh, yeah, well, staff attendance we are working on because I do intend to do some celebration of staff attendance. So, I can get you that information. Ms. Potter has been putting that together.
Actually, Dr. Cosby, remember, we do have that from our DLT data information.
Okay.
I don't know what those timeframes were. You remember, Ms. Allen?
Was it the staff?
Maybe it was only
First
students, but yeah,
Yeah, it was just two.
okay.
Yeah, but I, like I said, we are getting the staff. I think she's actually gotten the staff attendance. We were just putting it together again to, do a celebration for those teachers who hit a certain mark.
Okay.
So I'll get that to you.
Anything else under discussion follow-up board?
And I did get the, you should have a copy of the.
Organizational chart, I did see that.
You have
Thank
a
you.
chance to look over that, see if you have any questions.
And treasurer's comments.
Yes, in front of you, Ms. Potter put together this list of just some FYIs for upcoming conferences for the board. We will be attending the Ohio School Board conference that starts November 12th through the 14th. November 12th is that Sunday evening, and we all have paid to attend the Black Caucus dinner, and that dinner does start at 7 o'clock. So we will be getting your packets to you by next Friday for Mr. Anderson, Mr. Davis, Ms. Moore, Mrs. Mallory, Dr. Cosby, and myself. So it will be 6 of us going. Mr. Anderson and Ms. Moore also will be attending NASB conference in New Orleans. That starts November 29th through December 3rd, and it starts at 4 o'clock on the 29th. So we just wanted an FYI so that you all would know about the dates, and so we will get you further information because we have to book transportation as well.
Thank you. Superintendent comments.
Okay, I just have a couple of things. We will be holding the movie Black Boy at the high school auditorium, November 9th at 4:30. So it's a really good movie. It's a documentary. Some of it is set down in Cincinnati, so it feels very much like home. I feel like I could relate to it. And so that'll be next Thursday at 4:30 at the high school auditorium. I want to shout out to Dr. Jacita Pooler and the ELC for having all their preschool slots filled now. And also a shout out to Ms. Fleetwood for making sure that the parents were able to get all of the necessary documents turned in so that they could, participate in preschool. So that's really exciting. There are some other things going on. Like we know November 7th is our election day, and that the high school will be asynchronous. And I thought about how to explain that. When it's asynchronous, the teachers are still working and teaching the kids, so they will give assignments. If we're closed, then that means the teachers aren't working and the kids are at home.
Okay.
So that is an asynchronous day on the 7th. That's all I have.
All right. Board comments. Well, our students had homework, so we had a lengthy exec session, so they were dismissed early. Board comments, Mr. Anderson.
Madam Chair, I don't have any board comments for today.
No, not tonight. Next. Mr. Davis.
Well, if Mr. Anderson don't, I got some. No, actually, just like a little 30-second comment about what I really am trying to do here. I was told, I got a couple phone calls, right? I was told that I need to stay out of all of the stuff that's happening November 8th and just be careful and all these little things where people want to tell me what to do all the time because they're my mentors, and that's fine. But what I am going to say is this. I don't like political theater in my educational realm. And because I guess I'm in politics, as I got elected here, about 20 seconds left, I assume that I have obligation to the 20,000, 3,000 children. What that means is that when I look at this right here, it looks like, when you see Board of Education at the top, it looks like that's us. It looks like that's where we're at, all 4 or 5 of us that are here. But what I've seen consistently, and I'm trying to figure this out because my first year I didn't understand it. My second year I thought I was crazy. I thought I was tripping, right? Now going into this, I'm realizing that when we think inwardly, when we think about ourselves, sometimes we forget about others. So my question to everyone in this institution of education that we as the board kind of sit on top of, and then the chain of command goes down if you look at it. This is a republic when you put this all together of education. when you take all of these people here and all of the people that aren't on here that should be on here, kind of, probably like a lot of other people, right, like hundreds of people, this is a republic. So that means that I need to protect that. And the best way to do that is to tell everyone that I need help to do that. It isn't to act like I know it all. This isn't to pull out degrees I got. It isn't to compete with titles or names or whatever field of education I got. I'm just plain old Sidney Davis Jr. from Montgomery County, Miami Valley, right? So in this, going into this year, there may be newer faces that's come into this based on what the people decide. There may not be, whatever, right? I don't know. It depends on what happens this week, or next week, rather. But in the process of that, what I won't do is court those new people. What I won't do is lie to the people. What I won't do is deceive the people. But what I will do is work with all these people. And I mean, I will force this thing to be a level fair of education for children. I'm not really worried about what's next. I'm just worried about what's now. And I really feel like we've done a really, really good job thus far of coming together, standing against things that have came into our district that have derailed things that may have been bad or good. We've just fixed it and ironed through everything. I think I speak on most of my counterparts when I say we love what we do. I told my dad, and this is where I digress, I told my dad that I would stop working 3, 4, 5 jobs eventually after 10 years. But when it comes to Trotwood-Madison School Board in this Republic of Education, I can tell him, even when he watches from wherever he's at, this wasn't work a day in his life for me. No matter what time or when I went to sleep or when I woke up with something or wondering if we're going to close the schools or wondering what buses or just knowing that Marlon going to make it happen, knowing that the IT is going to hold it down, knowing that our directors are going to be there, knowing that our board is going to come together, even when we don't like what's going on with each other, we'll come together and we'll fuss and fight it out. And these are a lot of things people don't see with us. But don't ever, ever get this misunderstood. What we're really trying to do here is just create. And I'm not saying every day I'm here, I'm doing the best I can do. But what I do think about at night is, what did I fail at? Who did I fail by making good or bad decisions? And that to me is what real leadership is. It's not a political arena, it's not a political theater. It's really, I'm living this, didn't know what I was getting into, came into this and worked with beautiful people, beautiful women, beautiful just spirits and a lot of great individuals. And that's it. That's what I really wanted to stand on, and it's just comment or long-winded comment. And I'm just grateful for the opportunity to work with Anderson, Honorable Cherry, and Honorable President that we have, and just our institutions here. And I just sincerely have enjoyed working this year if it was over tomorrow. And thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Ms. Cherry.
Yes, I just would like to thank the staff for coming out and presenting or giving the overall objective of their supplementals. The purpose of to present for me was to educate me on what it is that you guys are doing. Nothing more, nothing less for me. I wanted to be educated on what are we doing for our students in that realm. So I do appreciate the ones who did come out and present. The one thing that I did take from all of the presenters was engagement of the students and teamwork, and I really do appreciate that, and that's what I believe we need to move our district forward. Again, I thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cherry. And for myself, I'd like to echo what she said, and I already thank our staff for coming out and sharing their programs that they're working for us, and they were excited. You know, they were ready to talk and give us a full presentation, so, but we appreciate it, and we appreciate them. And I think with that, we do not need an executive session, and I will take a motion to adjourn.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting November 2nd at 9 p.m.
I'll second.
Moved by Mr. Anderson, second by Mrs. Cherry. Ms. Allen, would you call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Anderson,
Yeah.
Ms. Cherry,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes, ma'am.
Mrs. Jeter Freeman.
Yes. Thank you all. Meeting is adjourned.